Hello and welcome everyone to another Starcraft 2 England cast. Today I have got a game between FXOwhale and ZeNEXSparta. So Sparta is playing as the blue Terran player in the left position, and Whale is playing as the red Zerg player in the right position. The map is GSL dual site, so it isn't one of the ladder maps, but it is nonetheless a fantastic map. Quite a narrow ramp down to your natural base, which is a good little trick. It can mean that if it was a Protoss playing, force fields on the ramp are very easy. Also a dual entrance to the natural, and this can be quite an interesting thing to go for, because obviously this dual entrance can be fun to do, and this is just beautiful lava here. That is lovely. I like lava. Anyway, so we have got Whale coming in, and he's not going to go for any super early pull. Meanwhile, we have just got Sparta going for a very standard wall off here. Just looking around the map, nothing too much more to say. I mean, just lots of open pathways. It is pretty good for a Zerg player, all these different entrances. And, well, actually going for an extractor trick there. So, not to actually get anything. And this is clearly kind of not done as much on the European server, but extractor tricks can be quite popular on the Korean server. I mean, I remember reading on Team Liquid that it doesn't actually work out any better economically than doing a 9 Overlord, but each to their own. And just the barracks coming down here, no gas as of yet for Sparta. Whale will be able to get that drone in to scout, and obviously that is really key. That drone in there, will see that one gas is now being taken. Meanwhile, Whale is just positioned a drone there in order to take his natural, so it is going to be a hatch first build. We'll see that refinery come down as well. So almost probably going to see either a tech lab on that barracks in order to get some Reapers out, or just straight into Reactor Helium, which is the go-to build for TvZ at the moment. Now, still neither player doing anything too fancy or unusual. Just a quick update. I mean, I've cast a load of TLO versus Whiterun games, 6 actually, so go and check them out if you haven't seen it, because they're absolutely brilliant. And Whale actually now just going for his spawning pool, a really late spawning pool, but he should be fine in order to defend that. And Sparta just getting 3 guys in gas, so will be interesting to see what he's doing. Because no tech lab has gone down, I'll almost guarantee that it will be a Reactor Helium build. Now this extractor will actually outbuild the Marine's damage, so until that second Marine comes out, this extractor will be able to stay up and keep vision of everything which is going on. Meanwhile, this drone just patrolling around the base, make sure no bunkers are coming down or any shenanigans like that. The SCV is in the main base, just kind of taking a look, see what is happening. Whale again, just kind of rebuilding and unbuilding that extractor. Now, this extractor will actually manage to build, but it will eventually die. So, obviously, if we take a look here, we have got the factory coming down as well as the reactor. So, Reactor Hellions are on the way. Now, I really like Reactor Hellions on this map. There are 2 pathways in. There's lots of different ways to run around, and it's quite a big open area in order to defend. So, it could be quite difficult for Whale to deal with. The Hellions might manage to snipe a couple of drones, which obviously would be a big win for Sparta early on in the game. Meanwhile, Whale hasn't actually built a single Zergling as far as I am aware. Nope, none in the units tab, so just going absolutely max drones, getting both queens out simultaneously, and that later pull means that if you have gone hatch first, you can get both queens at the same time, and still just droning. Meanwhile, we have got Sparta taking his expansion now. That reactor factory is now in play, getting 2 Hellions out straight away. A tech lab is on its way for the barracks, so we should see some early stim or something similar. Now, because of this really narrow ramp, 1 queen can block it off, so no Hellions will be going into the main base for Whale, so that should be quite good. Getting 2 spine crawlers, and that should actually pretty much cover everything. There's obviously a queen there as well, so with the queens and the spine crawler, those Hellions should be dealt with pretty easily, but here they come anyway. Will be interesting to see what does manage to go down here. They are going via the watchtower just to see if they do manage to spot anything, and obviously because they are coming in, be interesting to see what does do snipe that creep tumor. It wasn't cancelled. Now again, Hellions are great for map control. They just prevent that creep spreading out. They are skirting around. Don't want to take any hits from spine crawlers at the moment. Just going to sit here and prevent creep spread, and that's exactly what they need to be doing. Meanwhile, this natural expansion for Sparta is pretty much down. He is getting stim as well very early, backing up with 2 more barracks. Has still only got the 1 gas. Meanwhile, we can see that Whale is getting 3 gases all at once, and there are now 4 Hellions here, but they're not going to go in because there's just so many queens. There's 3 queens and 2 spine crawlers, and they would take just so much damage and would die pretty quickly. But I still actually don't think Whale has built a single Zergling. He hasn't. There are literally no Zerglings on the field as of yet, just using every single lava in order to make drones. Also getting his macro hatch up, purely because he won't be able to expand, and spreading creep up in this direction is very, very good. Obviously, using one creep tomb on the high ground to give vision to spread it further, but these Hellions aren't going to prevent any more creep spread going on this way. And they are actually going to go in now, going to try and go for it. Will manage to get in a good position, will capture a couple of drones, will get taken down, lining up very badly there, and quite a lot of drones do manage to go down there. Sparta getting some big hits off the Hellions are going down though rapidly to the Queens and all the spine crawlers. Will they manage to get any more drones? I don't think they will. A couple more, one more gets taken down, but still they're just standing up. One Hellion still alive, but it will go down to those Queens very, very shortly. Now if we take a look at the units killed, 17 workers killed there. That is quite a big loss. Those Hellions did huge damage at this stage of the game, and obviously Sparta has got his own expansion up, and this macro hatch is going to be key in order to try and deal back that drone damage. And I mean, still absolutely no Zerglings on the field. Zergling speed is on its way. Creep spread can now start going into overdrive. Obviously these extra Queens are just going to be able to chuck down creep tumor after creep tumor, 3 in one position, 2 in the other. So creep spread is going to be great for Whale here. He has got all 3 gases up, and if we take a look at the unit counting tab, it's 44 drones to 33 SCVs. Just getting his lair now, as well as double upgrades, so we're going to have really quite upgraded lings. We'll probably see a Baneling nest come down shortly. Will be interesting to see if Whale chooses to go for infestors or indeed for mutalisks, but a drop is now getting loaded up. This drop will do a lot of damage because still absolutely no Zerglings out for Whale. And I mean, he's got no spine crawler in the main base at all. He does have 2 Queens, and that is literally it. There are 24 Zerglings on the way, but I mean, they're not going to be out. They should just actually get out in time in order to deal with this drop. There's great Overlord spread, so the drop will be spotted, and as long as Whale is keeping his eyes open, he can pull those Zerglings back, and this drop will do absolutely nothing now. Absolutely great timing, although it looks like he hasn't actually seen it. These Zerglings moving out forward, the drop is coming down, the Queens are there, but both Queens could go down. All the Zerglings are getting pulled back very, very quickly, and that means that that Queen has been microed back amazingly well, and all the Marines have been picked up. The Queens aren't going to be able to manage to snipe the dropship quite yet. A transfuse did go off on one of the other Queens, so again, just amazing play by Whale. If we take a look here, he's already up to 51 drones, but the drone lead is actually reducing compared to what it was. The 3rd command center is going down now for Sparta at his 3rd base, so we're about to have an actual base up for the Terran player. That is not a good position for Whale to be in. He's being forced back, and I mean, just running these Zerglings around. The Zerglings are going to be able to come in. The Marines will see them all coming down there, will prevent the command center from landing, and that is obviously a big win. Getting us around on a couple of Marines here, picking off the reinforcements as they're rallied forward, and the Marines are just going to have to chase these Zerglings down. The Zerglings do get into the mineral line and are just going to do some big damage. Great use of hold position here to try and pick off a couple of SCVs, and the supply depot is going up perfectly timed there by Sparta, and that Ling run by will get cleaned up, doing absolutely no damage at all. No workers killed at all by Whale there, and just losing a lot of Zerglings. Still just starting 2-2 now, also getting pathogen glands out, so it is going to be Ling Infester as favoured and made popular by Stefano. Whale has got his 3rd base about half done, but this 3rd base already up now for Sparta, so we could see really Whale getting quite behind here very quickly. He's already behind in the food count, but there are a lot of Zerglings running in. These are 1-1 Zerglings against 0-0 Marines, although 1-1 is on its way, as you can see, for those Marines. It is about 3/4 done, but it will mean there will be a bit of a deficit upgrade-wise for Sparta. Getting this planetary fortress out, as well as a missile turret. There is no need for the missile turret at all, apart from detection, if Whale does decide to get burrow for those infestors. But they will get taken out, and the Marines are just going to run forward and deal with these Lings. This constant Ling harassment is just annoying more than anything for Sparta. Now, Pathogen Glands has literally just finished up now. 7 infestors are on the way. The armory is also coming down. If we take a look around here, there is an armory just coming down the back here. 1-1 finishing up for those Marines now as well. So, equal upgrades for a little while. And obviously, equal upgrades does massively favour the Terran player, just because once that Marine ball gets big, the Zerglings can't get us around. No Banelings out at all yet. Hive is on its way. for Whale, but he doesn't have a Baneling Nest at all. Does have 2 spines positioned in his main in order to deal with any drops. Is also now getting some spines at his 3rd base. But obviously he is on equal bases with Sparta, which is not where he wants to be. He wants to be a base up, as Zerg always do against Protoss or Terran. And there is actually a drop going on here. Quite a few Overlords will get picked off. Whale is now supply blocked, is just starting 4 Overlords in order to deal with this. And Zerglings and Infestors coming in. A Fungal Growth will pick off a couple of Marines, but doesn't actually manage to get the drop itself. And if we look here, these are a lot of Infestors and quite a few Zerglings. They are looking like they're going to move forward. The actual Infestors stopping, just not moving out too far. These Zerglings just positioning themselves for a counterattack if need be. Meanwhile, these Marines have just been healed up. Could see some more drop play going on. But both players playing actually quite defensively at the moment. And we will see that this is a good defensive position here for Sparta. He's covered most of his 3rd base. He's also got this run by through. And he has walled off this side entrance to his base with a bunker. And the Baneling Nest now about half done for Whale as well. Not actually getting anything. He's just literally started his Ultralisk Cavern, getting the Adrenal Glands upgrade. 3-3 not yet started. He does have the gas for it, so I'm surprised he hasn't just started that 3-3 straight away. There they go, so there goes 3-3. The drop is going to get cleaned up, I do believe. The medevac going right out into the corner of the map, and the 4th base for Whale is on its way now, so he will now actually just be starting to get ahead. But this is a big push by Sparta. He is incredibly ahead in the supply count, 160 to 120, 40 supply lead. And if we take a look here, it's not even all through drones. I mean, a very even work account, which is not a good position for the Zerg player. The tanks are going to siege up, force those Lings back more. The Lings do have a 2-2 upgrade compared to the 1-1 of the Marines, and no weapon attack for the tanks as of yet. A good scan going off. Those spine crawlers will get focus fired down very, very quickly, doing very, very little damage. And I mean, this is not a great position. And there is even a drop going down as well, forcing quite a few Lings to pull back. Just the creep spread is being taken out, because obviously this is preventing... It's going to prevent the 4th base going down for Sparta anytime soon. So many Lings here, and Infested Terrans do even take out the dropship. But Sparta deciding, no, not going to go for it quite yet. 5 Ultralisks are on the way. Adrenal Glands will finish very, very soon, so we will have Cracklings out. Not to mention the fact that 3-3 is about half done, so is the armor upgrade for those Ultralisks. Some Zerglings just running by, just scouting out, seeing exactly what is going down. Picking off a couple of Marines, and a dropship coming down will get scouted by those Zerglings all while they are there. And obviously the creep spread is giving complete view of that dropship, so I mean, the drop won't do much damage anyway. There's 2 queens here, more spine crawlers and a spore crawler going down as well, so a lot of defense. But meanwhile, we've got quite a few units coming up here. There's also a Viking going around, just picking off any overlords it can, and a good siege position here, really containing Whale at his 3rd and 4th base. But obviously, Whale just saying, you know what, I'm going to take more bases, and that's always a good move. The Marines are being dropped, but they are just all going to die flat out. That medevac will stay up though, as there is nothing that can shoot up around. 3-3 starting now for Sparta as well. Sparta pretty much maxed out as it stands, so could see a push coming in. And obviously siege mode is done, of course, so these tanks have got the range to just besiege this base. The Ultralisks, Ling and Infestor army is just trying to skirt around, get a good angle of attack. But I mean, there's just so many tanks and Marines here. Is Whale just going to go and counterattack? Both players nearing max, and there has been a Ling counterattack down here. The base can't go down, obviously, due to creep spread. And meanwhile, this 4th base rather, for Whale will go down very, very quickly. Marines moving forward now. And this army of Whale is just stuck back here. He can't actually move out, morphing in quite a lot of Banelings. 15 Banelings are on the way to deal with those Marines. The Ultralisks will make a quick drive of the tanks. And I mean, if he goes right now, the tanks aren't sieged up, but he's got no vision of this area, so has no clue that this would be the best time to push. And if we take a look up here, there is a dropship positioned. Could do quite a bit of damage. There's no spines or anything around here. 3-3 is done. So is the armor upgrade. So is Adrenal Glands. So this melee army for Whale is completely upgraded. Will do so much damage. And those Ultralisks will take so much punishment. Obviously, +1 vehicle weapons only just starting now. About 3/4 of the way through. So, I mean, a very, very big disadvantage in terms of upgrades on those tanks. I mean, Ultras have a huge amount of armor with their armor upgrades, huge amounts of HP, and obviously the 5 bases for Whale is going to be very, very good, but he is supply blocked, And one infestor getting picked off there. These tanks are just creeping forward. Good siege positioning. More tanks down here. And just running in. And I mean, huge damage being done to everything. But there's just so many units coming in full whale. This is going to be an absolutely massive push. The banelings are detonating on the tanks, which isn't perfect. Huge fungal growths going off on all the marines. Pinning them in position for the Ultralisks just to move forward. So many marines on such low health. Only one tank remaining, and all the medevacs will get away. But these marines are just going to get slowly cleaned up. Should be able to get back. Run into that bunker as fast as they can. And that was a big engagement for Whale. He did huge damage. Those fungal growths were absolutely perfect. And now just pulling back because there is a drop going off. And this hatchery is going to go down. So that is a big loss there for Whale. He is now stuck on those 3 bases. I mean, his 4th base up here isn't rebuilt as of yet. And there isn't actually any more drops going down anywhere else as far as I can see. But having said that, there's just so many units and a big engagement going on down here. There's a lot of marines. No fungal growths as of yet. Needs to get a fungal growth in order to deal with those marines. Does get it down, and those ultras are dying pretty quickly. No queens for transfuse, but everything getting cleaned up by those ultras. Ultras at 3-3 with their armor upgrade are just so effective, but some marauders are coming onto the field now. Sparta building 4 marauders at a time in order to try and deal with those ultralisks, but just so many cracklings and so many infestors. I mean, 5 more infestors are on the way as well now. I think quite a few have been killed. There's only 1 infestor remaining on the field, but that will be up to 7 once those being rebuilt do finish. And the supply count is pretty similar. No base down here anymore for Whale, but he does have his 4th base up, getting 2 spine crawlers as well in order to defend that. But the 4th base for Sparta coming down as well now. And these units are moving in again. This is a dangerous position, but there is no infestors for the fungal growth. So obviously can kite those ultras. The tank does go down, and I mean, this is just going to do huge damage. He needs to keep those ultras alive. It does force a lift on the 4th base for Sparta. Meanwhile, we have got some units coming in, just trying to focus fire down this 4th base of Whale, and it will go down. There's no units around at all. Even the drones coming in order to try and deal with this. But the 4th base of Whale does go down, and Whale is completely broke. He is mined out pretty much at his natural base, so he is going to be mining up pretty much off 1 base very quickly, but he's just got so many units. A whole load of infested Terrans are getting thrown down, so that command center probably will get cleaned up. Just huge damage being done, as you can see here. That command center is not going to survive that onslaught of infested Terrans. Meanwhile, a 4th base trying to come down here for Whale, so both players being pinned down on 3 bases, although this 4th base is actually done for Sparta, and in a good defense position. There is quite a few ultra and infestors coming in from down the south position, and obviously Ling infestor from the top. Could have got a big fungal growth off there, but I mean, a good flank coming in. The tanks are going to do some damage, but I mean, there's just too many units, and coming in from the top as well. Big attacks from multiple pronged angles means that it will split up that Terran army. And a big fungal growth goes off on the infantry there. Another huge fungal growth allowing the Ultralisks to get in range. But there's just so many marauders doing massive damage to those Ultralisks. And I think Sparta will be able to hold this without taking too significant losses. And most importantly, keeping up that 4th base is forcing Whale back. And Whale just has no money at all. That marauder is doing more damage to those ultras, and I mean, every ultra he loses is a massive loss at this stage of the game, because he just doesn't have the money in order to keep rebuilding them. As you can see from the production tab, he's got absolutely no army building at the moment. Meanwhile, Sparta has got 10 marines coming at a time and another marauder on the way, so obviously everything is max upgraded, and really it's all about positioning now. But there is such a huge supply lead, nearly 60 supply ahead for Sparta, exactly where he wants to be. This 4th base is now down, but there is a couple of marines just coming down to harass it. Meanwhile, Sparta just trying to get a good position of attack. There are quite a few Lings and an Ultralisk here, but I mean, nothing down here to attack because Sparta has expanded in the leftmost position. And if you look, there is a medevac coming in now, and these Lings could get us around, but actually choosing to move back. And he could have taken that, but he would have taken some losses. And I mean, Whale moving that Ultralisk in, and that could actually go down if he's not careful. But Sparta choosing to focus fire down the hatchery, and if he does manage to get that hatchery down, it would be a huge loss for Whale, because he would be back on 3 bases, and it just stays up with only 14 HP. That was so lucky for Whale there. Obviously, if that base had gone down, it would have been a big loss. Meanwhile, we've got Ling counter-attack up here, trying to deal with some of Sparta's units, but he's just got so much stuff. Meanwhile, obviously, that 4th base is still up and running for Sparta, which is allowing him to keep up the production. Some Marauders are running in now. With only a Queen to deal with this, these Marine and Marauder should be able to take out the 4th base. That will go down now. Whale is again now just down to 1 base. His 3rd base has also been sniped down at some point in this game. So, I mean, this is not a good position for Whale. He is on 0 mining bases. He's just getting some gas and a tiny bit of minerals. Long range mining from this base here. And there's a big engagement going on. All the Ultralisks will go down. And there's the GG. Absolutely great expansion control by Sparta there. An absolutely fantastic game. Both players played very, very well. But Whale showing that if a Zerg player is denied those expansions, he just has nothing in order to keep up the production. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and also follow me on Twitter. It is at SC2_England. Thank you very much and tune in again soon.